Well, earlier today, I brought you a story of United into what we call very crucial advanced talks with Atalanta on the transfer of Rasmus Hojlund. And guess what? Having put in a bid of 50 million euros plus 10 million euros, United have gone ahead to improve their bid today because they held direct talks with Atalanta and they want the deal of Rasmus Hojlund done and dusted as up. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. It's not Rokani Media Football, it's the United Matters channel. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? I'll go by the names of Rokan David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, we are also taking Fred. There is a transfer hijack that is acting as music to ears to all the board members of United because they want 20 million pounds for Fred, and there is another team that's going to hate obviously offer Fred a new place to play, and Champions League football is guaranteed for the Brazilian international that Ten Hag is looking on to offload. And lastly, we are talking a little bit of Diego Dalot, talking about Bruno Fernandes and him being the new captain of the club of Manchester United. Let's see close to 300 likes. Smashing this video. Don't forget to subscribe to it that we hit the number of subscribers that we want before the end of this month. And remember, today is 29th, meaning that we are left with just 2-3 days to hit the end of the month of July. So let's subscribe. How do you subscribe? Lower right bottom corner is the place to be. Smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you to get notified every time we upload a video onto this beautiful YouTube channel of ours. Now, let's start it off with Rasmus Hojlund and Fabrizio Romano. Just like 2 hours back, he has gone ahead and confirmed to us the following that Manchester United improved their bid to Atalanta during direct talks today. It will be more than 60 million euros package. Understand negotiations are still on. Man United want to close the deal as up to focus on other positions right after Hojlund. Very clear, he wants United. Now, when you look at the bid that we put in earlier, it was 50 million euros plus 10 million euros of add-ons. And Fabrizio Romano has confirmed to us that we've gone ahead to offer a deal to Atalanta that is more than 60 million pounds. That means that United might be up for a task to see to it that they find themselves in a situation of really winning this for the club, winning this transfer from the club of PSG that have gone ahead obviously do the needful. And why do they want to do this fast? Obviously they've gone ahead to obviously anticipate that more positions are still needed to be solved at Manchester United. And let me tell you this, I won't be shocked if at all United are really pushing this deal of Rasmus Hojlund to get done ASAP and obviously embark onto the deal of Harry Kane. When you look at how deals are coming in through, United putting Harry Maguire on sale, Scott McTominay up for sale, Fred up for sale, Donny van de Beek up to sale, Brandon Williams up for sale. Those are 5 players who can obviously gang in 100 million pounds for the club of Manchester United, meaning that there is a very huge player they want to deliver at Man United. That is not Rasmus Hojlund, that is not Sofian Amrabat, but that is Harry Kane. It's not Disasi, because if United's plan was to bring in Disasi, Hojlund, and Sofian Amrabat, they wouldn't have been acting at this pace. That is it, because you know Spain is their game. They do it better, and they like to do deals after 3 weeks. But Andre Onana was just announced last week, and it looks like United, in a space of 1 week, they want to obviously see themselves into the ilk of getting this deal over the line, that is of Rasmus Hojlund. If it's not their panic, it's that they really get the deal of Harry Kane done, because it looks like Bayern is obviously trying to obviously accelerate and obviously move forward ahead of Manchester United in the deal, I'll be shocked. And if at all it's not in the name of Harry Kane, I'll obviously give them their flowers. And if I thought they're doing it for the good of the club and they're not obviously wanting to get in other players, then that will be okay for the club of Manchester. But I'm having something biting my head. Unless otherwise, Harry Kane is sold to Bayern Munich. I don't say United out of the deal of Harry Kane. Why? CEO of Manchester United, wanted Harry Kane as a primary target for Manchester United, and that was put out in March this year. So you cannot tell me that United are out of the deal of Harry Kane, an English player whose DNA for the club of Manchester United has been built on players with English passports. So I don't see that off, not until I see him hold that shirt of Bayern Munich. That is it for Harry Kane. But I believe Rasmus Hojlund can be sounded. Here we go, even tomorrow, all today night, all tomorrow evening. That's when we expect a here we go of Rasmus Hojlund to Manchester United. Now, Santi J, very credible journalist. I'll always remind you that he was the guy that broke the news of Casemiro to Manchester United and United opening talks to sign Casemiro. Very many credible sources went ahead and downplayed this story, but in 2-3 days, it was official that United was in talks with Real Madrid to sign a player called Casemiro. So, Santi J, FM, has told us that Manchester United are close to complete Rasmus Hojlund deal. Both parties are very confident to seal the deal. Contract of 5 years plus 1 year, and the deal could be finalized around 65 million euros to 10 million euros of bonuses. So, I think we now know what United is going to have to offer to Atalanta. 65 million euros to 10 million euros of bonuses, meaning that the upfront fee is going to be 65 million euros. And to me, 65 million euros, it's like 57 million pounds. That's not bad money for Rasmus Hojlund if at all you're going in for a prospect, because most prospects go in for more than that. You've seen it. Look at this Evan Ferguson striker of Brighton. I see him costing United 100 million euros next summer if at all we are to go in for him. So even for Rasmus Hojlund, he's a prospectful player. If you've seen him play, you'll obviously believe that there is a player in him. And the kind of manager that we have, like Erik ten Hag, who is so much spot on, if he goes on and says, I want that player for that amount of money, that means that player is going to head to obviously tick all the boxes of Erik ten Hag. Because when you look at Marcel Sabitzer, and what he offered at Manchester United, it was enough for Erik ten Hag to obviously retain him at the club of Manchester United, but he said, no, I'm not retaining you. So, if at all he's going in for Rasmus Hojlund at the age of 20, he believes he's going to bring him in and obviously usher him into the system of Man United, where he's really going to thrive more and more and more for the club of Manchester United. So wait and see how this deal goes. Will it be 60 million euros up front plus 10 million euros of add-ons? Wait and see. 65 million euros up front and 10 million euros of add-ons. We'll be here waiting to see how that is going to pan out in here onto the United matters. That's about Rasmus Hojlund, but anytime from now, trust me, we are going to sound a here we go from Fabrizio Romano, all agreeing a deal in principle from David Austin. Now, we are having a story coming in from Gate Italian News in English. That is GIFN on Twitter. Fred Rodriguez, one of those that United never even traveled with to America because they anticipated that he's going to be sold. And they're telling us that Lazio are offering Fred the promise of USL football and are placing him at the center of their project. Manchester United want around 20 million euros, and Lazio will hope to cover a significant part of the fee using add-ons. That is La Lazio Siamo Noio Via. So, another team is in for Fred. Fred is a lucky man. He's not all that a player that you would fancy to be in your team, especially a top team like Manchester United. But I think for Lazio, it's okay. But with the likes of Pep Guardiola coming in through and obviously identifying him, and they wanted to pay only 20 million euros for the player, and yet they end up paying like 60 million euros. Looking at him, that means there is something special in this player that maybe Pep Guardiola saw, and it could improve him to become a better player. That is it. So, to my own understanding, I believe there is a player in Fred, but not for Manchester United. the money that they used to buy Fred, 53 million pounds or 60 million euros, would have gone ahead to bring in players in the levels of Rodri. And I believe at that time, if United could convince Casemiro to come in at Man United, they would have gone ahead to obviously pay like 7 million pounds more or 10 million euros more to get the player in. It shows you how much money we spent on a player whose value has not gone ahead to obviously thrive. But one will tell you that, why don't you even think of the other side of Fred, that he was affected by the managers we had that couldn't improve players? And I would listen to such a player. I really believe if Fred came here when he's like 25 years of age from Shakhtar, because I believe he's going to have to spend close to 7 years at Man United, because he came in 2018. 2018 at Manchester United. Ten Hag would have gone ahead to improve him and turn him into a very better player, because if he can improve Wan-Bissaka, whose technical abilities are nowhere near those of Fred, then what of Fred? But United is putting Fred in the shop window. Do you know why? He is stunted. At 30 years, there is nothing new he's going to learn on the field of play. So they want to get 20 million pounds out of the player. Now, Lazio coming in through obviously helps Manchester United, because a team from Saudi Arabia wanted Fred, and I think they're willing to offer even 30 million pounds. But I think Fred is not going to have to give United green light to consider that deal. Galatasaray made a bid and was rejected, and they are planning to go in for 10 million euros. And now, if there is a club coming in through to offer 20 million euros from Italy for Fred, then that is music to ears of we fans of Man United, because we need to raise money to get in players like Sofian Amrabat. So if we can get 20 million euros from Fred, I believe that's going to be a very huge boost for the club of Manchester. Meaning that now Fulham also know that if they want Fred, they need to go that level. The Saudi Arabia side, they need to go uphill. Galatasaray, they need to go north of 20 million euros to win the race of Fred. Now, we wait and see how that pans out, but the attraction to Champions League football and the player wanting to stay in Europe and the team willing to pay the amount of money that United wants might obviously escalate that deal, and obviously might see Fred being a Lazio player anytime from now. But it depends on what the player really wants, but we wait and see how that unfolds in the next coming days of this of this summer transfer window. Lastly, let's do some bit about Dalot and Bruno Fernandes, both coming in from Portugal, and they play for the national team of Portugal. They are both at the World Cup. He has said, knowing Bruno Fernandes, he's not going to change his way of being after getting the armband. He's a natural born leader. He's a player you can count on and who gives everything for the team. Obviously, Bruno has gone ahead to obviously show his qualities as a leader on the field of play, and he's a player who doesn't miss out games even when he's injured. He keeps on playing his beautiful game of football and doesn't look any further apart from those games where we lose as a team. But he doesn't down tools. He's one of those players that has gone ahead to best describe the word consistency ever since he was signed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the January of 2020 until now. Bruno is still one of those players that have gone ahead to flourish under every manager that's gone ahead to coach Manchester United, thriving under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, thriving under Ralf Rangnick, and thriving under the Erik ten Hag, the permanent gaffer of Manchester United. So your thoughts on to Hojlund, new improved bid made by Man United. Looks like the deal is coming close. What are your thoughts about that? Then, what do you make about Fred, Lazio coming in the mix? Where do you think Fred is going to end up this summer? Saudi Arabia, Galatasaray, Fulham, or Lazio? Let me know into the comment section below. And lastly, Bruno Fernandes getting hails from Dalot as the new United captain, and has gone ahead to promise to us what to expect from Bruno. Do you think he's lying or not? I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rock and David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later. Ciao, ciao.